The learning styles term is based on the understanding that every student learns differently. Technically, an individual's learning style refers to the preferential way in which the student absorbs, processes, comprehends, and retains information. As an instructor, if we can determine what kind of learner our students are, we can gain a better perspective on how to implement these learning styles into our lesson plans and study techniques. This notion of individualized learning styles has gained widespread recognition in education theory and classroom management strategy. Individual learning styles depend on cognitive, emotional, and environmental factors, as well as one's prior experience. In other words, everyone's different. It is important for educators to understand the differences in their students' learning styles so that they can implement best practice strategies into their daily activities, curriculum, and assessments.
I'm a visual and hands-on learner.
I'm a read-writer learner.
Kinesthetic and visual.
Visual.
Auditory and kinesthetic.
If I could see it, feel it, and hear it, I got it.
I'm a visual learner.
I'm a read-writer learner.
No, I'm a kinesthetic learner.
And I'm a kinesthetic learner.
I'm a hands-on learner.
I'm a visual learner.
I'm an audio learner.
Visual learner.
There is a potential for us as instructors to have 4 different types of learners in one classroom. So what are we going to do? The following instructional video is going to give us a little glimpse on how we can take a look at each of these 4 different types of learners and activities that we can create and engage them in within the classroom. Now, according to Mr. Neil Fleming, he has come up with the Vark model of student learning, and he has come up with 4 types of learners. There's the visual preference learners, the auditory preference, reading and writing preference, and the kinesthetic or tactile preference learners. The VARK model acknowledges that students have different approaches to how they process information, referred to as preferred learning styles.
Hi, my name is Alex Krolak, and I'm a visual learner.
Okay, so the visual learners, they're going to remember about 75% of what they read or what they see. So as an instructor, using things like whiteboards and diagrams and maps and graphs and charts, they're valuable tools for them. And they will remember most of what they will see, read, and even what they write. They will understand information better when they see it. Quite often, you're going to hear them use phrases like, "show me," and let's have a look at that. So, some teaching strategies for the visual learner. Provide lots of interesting visual material in a variety of formats. Make handouts and other written work visually appealing. Make use of multiple technologies such as project photos, videos, and allow them to have some internet use. Use lots of colors and stimuli within slides and videos. When something new is being introduced, have a diagram for the student to refer to and color code notes to organize. Some activity suggestions could include illustrations, graphs, displays, photographs, cartoons, and of course, videos.
Auditory.
I'm an audio learner.
Now, the auditory learner, they must hear things for them to learn. They can even learn by hearing their own voice. So quite often what they'll do is they'll record themselves reading something and then they'll play it back digitally, and they're going to remember exactly what they said in their own readings. Generally, the auditory learner will remember about 75% of what they hear in a lecture. So they're going to use phrases like, "tell me," or "let's talk it over." Some teaching strategies for the auditory learner could be things like rephrasing points, varying speed, volume, and pitch to help create interesting oral textures, ensuring auditory learners are positioned well in the room to hear what is being lectured, incorporate multimedia that includes sound, music, and speech, engage the students in conversation. Some activity suggestions could be oral reports or presentations, musical performances, debates and discussions, verbal games, oral recitation, or get them to record their material for their class and playback, or just for themselves for their own personal study.
I'm a read-writer learner.
Writer learner.
So the readers and the writers, they prefer the printed word as the most important way to convey and receive information. Learners are encouraged to write lists with headings to help keep things organized, and generally they like to learn with flashcards, and they will be seen reading them over and over silently. They will organize diagrams and charts into words. They will do well with multiple choice tests, and they are able to translate abstract concepts into words and essays. Now, some strategies to teach the readers and the writers. These students will be copious note takers or avid readers, so make sure to give them or ask them to write lots of questions and ensure that they get all the info that they need. Have lots of reading assigned for them and make it optional for them to hand in notes for marks. Some activity suggestions, have them be part of reading assignments, multiple choice tests as review, and make sure that you allow them to journal and allow them to reflect on assignments.
I'm a hands-on learner.
I'm a kinesthetic learner.
We need to recognize that these are preferred learning experiences. Kinesthetic learners, they like to experience, the physical experience. They like to touch things, they like to feel things, they like to hold and do things, and they like to do things for themselves. Kinesthetic learner involves using their whole body rather than just the use of the hands. So you're going to see them trying to touch things, they're going to need to walk around in the classroom, they're going to be very active within their room and within the learning experience. They remember best when they experience something, and they're going to use phrases like, "let me try," or "how do you feel?" Now, the last of the 4 types of learners that Mr. Neil Fleming was coming up with in his VARK model is the kinesthetic or tactile learners. So some strategies to reach out to these hands-on type learners would be things like allow them to take breaks during lessons to move around, encourage them to write their own notes and be active, incorporate multimedia, and have lots of multiple platforms for them to be stimulated. Have content presented or as activities or whole body participation. Let them get up, move around. Let them touch the models and draw the lesson out. Some kinesthetic and tactile activities could be things like dioramas, posters. Get them to build and create. Create some task cards, surveys and field trips, puzzles, anything that really gets them up and moving around and allowing them to use their hands will keep them fully engaged. It is important for educators to understand the differences in their students' learning styles so that they can implement best practice strategies into their daily activities, curriculum, and assessments. I hope this video at the very least gives you a glimpse into one of the most accepted understandings of learnings, which is Mr. Neil Fleming's VARK model of student learning.